Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League's PlayStation Performance League, brought to you in partnership with GridFinder.com. I am Tim, back once again for the Australian Grand Prix, and with me, my co-commentator, as always, Malk. How are you doing?
You're right, Tim. I am doing very well, mate. Doing very well. How are you doing?
Doing great and ready to see some racing action around Melbourne Park and a rainy sprint race. It looks like it's going to be. Not sure about the feature race, but we do have the sprint race before our feature, as always, and it's looking like that one is going to be a bit of a gully washer.
Could you say that again, please, mate? That was class. That was
a bit of a gully washer. You've never heard that one before? I mean, I've used it, but that's a southern saying, actually, and my grandmother has said it countless times in my lifetime, and I can only imagine how many times her own mother said it.
Well, in the English term, for us, it's beeping. When I say beeping, it's the other words that we might say. It's beeping down here at the Australian Grand Prix at Melbourne Park, and it's absolutely insane. Hello to Gam. How you doing? Hope you came well. And like I said, guys, we're at the Australian Grand Prix, and I love this track, and I even also love how I know they modified it last season, shall we say? Well, this season, shall we say? But I absolutely love it. I absolutely hated turns 9 and 10 when you have to sharp turn right and then go all the way around the long left-hander before it's to the end of the second sector into the third, where the chicane of death is going to kick in, Tim. So it's going to be explosive. There's going to be chaotic, especially in the wet conditions itself. I cannot wait for it. I really cannot wait for it to be an absolute belter of a race.
So as we wait for these drivers to prepare for their sprint race, the biggest question on my mind is, what is the weather going to look like for our feature? Because we know what it's going to be for the sprint. At least at the start, it's going to be rainy. But if it's going to rain during the feature race as well, then you're going to see a lot of drivers elect to go for the higher downforce setups around this race course. But if we're going to have a bit of a mixed picture, then that could really throw a wrench into the drivers thinking of what they need to do and what strategy they need to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what's going to be gobsmacked. Good evening to everyone that's in the chat. I will catch up with the chat in a minute. I've got some interesting news for you that's just come in exclusively from one of the drivers. You know when you said that this is like, it feels like intermediate, doesn't it? It's like a little bit of rain dropping down now and again. Now, this is where the confusion is going to kick in.
Oh,
they will
I
be
know
on.
What you're going.
They will be on the dry tyres. They've been forced to hit the dry tyres. Now it confirmed that they'll be dry at the end of the sprint itself. Now that is, I don't know how they're going to survive in this track to start with, but I'm surprised that they were forced to be in the. In with the dry condition tyres itself. That's a bit harsh from the officials itself. Do you agree with that, Tim?
Well, Mal, if you remember a few seasons ago at Austria, actually, there was a race that you and I commentated on where it was raining for the entire race, but the entire race was run on dry tires. There were even some drivers that tried to go on the intermediates. It turns out that they were slower. So for whatever reason, there seems to be, at least within, I think that was F121. But this being F122, maybe there could still be something within, I guess, the physics that would cause for that to happen. But yes, it is very harsh. I mean, because these drivers, it doesn't matter if they're going to be on intermediates or dries or wets or what, they're still going to be slipping and sliding because it's the rain. But the fact that they're being forced on dry over the tires in this, well, it's going to be interesting. We got 5 lights, we got no lights, and it's a wet sprint race on dry tires. Yes, that is right, dry tires. And, well, who knows who's going to choose what at this point. And
ooh, this is going to be close. Turn 1. Oh, bit of contact with one of the Mercedes. And it looks like a few drivers are really having.
And we got a spinner, Mount. We got a spinner. That is the Williams of MDJ who is spun around. So already the rain catching some drivers off guard.
And also Joe Hamster's dropped down. Digital Tiger drops down to 17th. Speed Queen drops down to 13th now. Side by side moments. This is I'm not saying comical, but this is absolutely extraordinary moments. And the officials are going to be absolutely saying. And it looks like Mert is absolutely went for the inside line and went it perfectly there, Tim.
So looking at Rudo here in the 5th position, trying to chase down Cassidy in the McLaren. Up there in P4, Bruce Lee Harding leads over Mikey and Nitro Gash. That's your top 3 with Cassidy, Rudo, your top 5, Cameron, Searle, Ryan, Mert, ARL, and JP, your top 10. Mert is in a battle with Ryan, it looks like, as he's just gotten around now. Ryan trying to keep JP behind him, who is on a mad dash ahead of him. And oh, look, Keza now getting around ARL. So what's going on with ARL? Just dropping back, just cannot find traction on this very wet racetrack.
I think he's struggling a minute. And
the other Aston Martin. Who is that? Cameron Searle.
I don't know why. I think he lost the back end completely, and I didn't see exactly, but his car was completely gone. So he is he's still in it, but we have no front wing, and we will have just to recap. There is no safety car. It's a virtual safety car, Tim. Virtual safety car.
So a virtual safety car on the first lap because Cameron Searle spins around. Oh, and Joe Hamster a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flag, so that's going to come back to bite him at the end. So we got some drivers pulling into the pits now. I'd say that those are the ones that got caught up in the carnage in lap 1. But let's see what tires they go to, which, as expected, would be the intermediates. But the biggest question is, though, are they going to be faster than the dry tires? Because like we were talking about with that race in Austria, we thought that drivers pulling into the pits, getting intermediate tires would of course be faster, but they weren't. So now we're going to see if Sir Spud, if Ka, those drivers, are they going to be able to make up time on these dry weather tire runners?
Well, we'll look at the next few laps though, Tim, because remember, it's going to be dry at the end of the sprint, I've been told, unless I've been told differently. It might be from the feature, I'm not 100% sure, but that's what's going to happen at this stage. But I'm watching Sir Spud's time. It is going down a little bit, but while we're watching that, Rudo is going to make the move on to Nitrogash, and we'll make the move into 3rd place. Rudo, going side moments, and he's spun out! He's spun out! There was no contact, his back end was completely gone, and he's dropping down like a domino effect.
And that's a shame for Rudo. So the rain catching another one, and now we got a side-by-side battle. Mert and Nitro Gash, maybe some contact between the two, but Mert gets away just ahead of Nitro Gash, and now it's going to be a side-by-side battle behind Mert between Nitro Gash and Ryan as they go down the straightaway, and Nitro Gash going around the outside of Mert, going to try to make a move out of turn number 1. Can't do anything with it. Now Mert holds on to the 4th position, Nitro Gash in P5.
Virtual safety car, Tim. Jack is out after the chicane of death. So Jack is out after the chicane of death, and we've got our second virtual safety car of the evening, Tim.
So let's hope, Mal, that the feature race is going to be dry, because it seems like, at least at the moment, that Australia in the wet is not going to be kind to these drivers.
I don't think he'll be very kind to it at all, but obviously, I'm watching from Nitro Gash's point of view. Yes, the track is wet, like the track is definitely wet, but it's slowing down to becoming like the split between the intermediates and the dry tyres. And I'm watching Spud's time. He was a few seconds behind Joe, but I don't know if he made a massive mistake, but he's 14 seconds behind Joe at the moment, and Kerr's getting close now to Sir Spud, so I think the next few laps is going to be absolutely crucial, and I just can't see that happening if the intermediate's going to last. I think the dry tyres might be the way forward, Tim.
Yeah, and I do think that you're right about that, Mount, because as we ride on board with Nitro Gas right now, you can see that it is still raining just a little bit, but we have seen that the dry tires at least do have a little bit of speed. You've got to be very, very careful, pretty much dancing on ice with these things, but this is the preferred tire, is just dry weather tires in general. But Sir Spud, those drivers, I'm assuming, had damage on lap 1, so already they are out of the points in the sprint race, because sprint race they're only awarded top 8 for points. So if you're already out of the points, you might as well try it.
Oh! That's, yeah, there's some that there was some battles galore. I think it was at the mid-pack, you know, and I have to wait and see how everything goes. It looks like Ruddo has made the move into 7th place now. JP drops down to 8th. JP drops down to 8th. And no, hello, good evening to comrades. There's no damage on Kirkle. This was by far the way it's going to mid, because we've been told that there's going to be a dry situation at the end of, possibly at the end of this sprint, maybe for the feature. We're not 100% sure, but Nigel Gash has made a move onto Mikey, and Merck out of nowhere has moved himself all the way up to 2nd place now. Tim, he's had a great race so far.
Yeah, I've been watching Merck Malkin. He just caught Cassidy like he was sitting still and passed him like he wasn't even there. Cassidy really starting to hold up a line of cars of Nitro Gash, Mikey, and Ryan, which looks like Mikey is diving down into the pits now, and Cassidy going into the pits as well. So lap 5 of 10 here. Let's see, are they gambling on intermediates, or are they just wanting a different set of tires? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but that puts Nitro Gash into the 3rd place. Bruce Lee Harding, though, still in command of this race, 7.6 seconds over Mercked right now. And it's also worth noting he started on the soft tires. That's done a lot for him today.
He's done a lot at the minute. Can he hold on? So Spud got the fastest lap of the race, actually, 128.971. 128.971. This is where the pressure's going to be. Well, Cameron's got 127.998 on the softs. Kirsten's got a 3-second time penalty. We've got a yellow flag. Not sure where that come from, but we've got a 3-car battle between JP, Ginger Tarkin, and MDJ. MDJ's going to get on the inside line. Oh, the contact. Looks like there's a bit of contact between the two drivers of Ginger Tiger and MDJ in 8th and 9th. Oh my god, this is going to be insane stuff now. Oh my days. SFR Martin Jones are just licking the lips saying, I'm going to make this move done as soon as possible. And they're coming to the chicane of death now. This is where everything could happen at this stage. They're going to be careful not to lose out too much. Looks like Ginger Tiger's lost out a bit of time and made SFR Martin make the move on the inside line now, Tim.
Yeah, Martin really making moves around here, but contact with Ginger Tiger, and now Martin into the wall. So Ginger Tiger holds on to the 9th spot. Martin, he drops back, and you know, Map, it looked to me like there was just a little bit of contact and it's sitting Martin around, and maybe that wouldn't have happened if the track was not so slick at the moment, but where they're struggling for grip, there was really, well, no grip to be had.
Absolutely. We might have a 3 to bed. Oh no, we've got a 2 in the bed moment now between Joe and Ginger Tiger. Joe's going to try and keep on the inside line on turn 1. Ginger Tiger's going to go on the inside line, and oh my days, brilliant move there from Joe, Tim.
Finding that momentum on the outside line and just leaving Ginger Tiger in the dust. Has his sights set on JP as Ginger Tiger drives it deep into the corner. Almost gets into the back of the Alpine, but keeps it clean. We stay green, and Joe Hamster P9 trying to get around JP. And I don't think, oh, and look, JP went wide. That opens the door for Joe Hamster, who moves just by JP into the 8th position, and look at that, leaves Ginger Tiger behind him. So Joe Hamster's nearest competition, well, he's got a bit of a buffer between the two, and that is good because Joe Hamster has that 5-second time penalty that he has to try and overcome. At the moment, he is in P8. That is at least 1 point if he can hold on to that position till the end of this race, but 5 seconds, that is a huge gap to overcome.
Absolutely. While you're watching that, Tim, Ruddo and Ryan had a great battle for 4th and 5th, respectively. And Ruddo holding on for dear life in 4th and trying to catch up to Nojgash, who's in 3rd place at the moment. And Bruce, fair beeping play to Bruce, who's pulling away like no man's business on the soft tyre in the wet conditions. And Merckx is trying his best to close the gap. And these 3 drivers, yellow flag set to 2, that is, I believe, Rick, I think. It's Rick, who's spun out in the 2nd sector. So I don't know whether he had damage limitations, but so Spud is getting close to ARL now, Tim.
And while you're watching that, now JP side by side with ARL, and my goodness, ARL very quick here. Ginger Tiger away, just behind him. Oh, some contact! Contact as Sir Spud gets into the back of ARL, but wow, what amazing car control.
The ARL has kept his cool on the car in the wet conditions. What a best drift ever. ever. I can't say the words anymore. It looks like Cassidy's going to make 2 moves and buy 1, get 1 free offer. Brilliant. Brilliant. Answer spud with that intermediate. It's starting to kick in now.
Whoa!
Oh, no!
Was that both Ferraris out? Yes, it was. So that is JP in the wall, and that is Ka as well with a lot of wing damage.
That was ridiculous. Ridiculous, Tim. I'm sorry. That's just you know. I don't know what to say, Tim. I know these two are not teammates theoretically in Performance League, but that's still... They'll have to be checked by stewards afterwards, but you could say a lot of words. Kerr's just going to go way off track now. Looks like everyone else is going into the pit. No, actually, the top 6 have not gone into the pit. Speed Queen has. Speed Queen has got himself into the pit. Someone else has gone into the pit. So I think that might be IRL. No, it was Cameron. Sorry, I do apologise, Tim. So Cameron, Kerr, and Speed Queen, they've all gone into the pits.
So Cameron going on a fresh set of softs, and really that's what we're going to expect all these drivers to do, is go on a fresh set of softs here and try to make up as much time as they can while they can. Now, it is also important to note that it is stopped raining from what I can tell. The track obviously a little bit damp. Oh, and just as I say that, it's still sprinkling, just very, very slight raindrops, but it's only going to get drier from here, so no issue with rain coming in these next 2 to 3 laps, but the issue for cars catching up to the safety car queue, well, that is very much present, because the safety car is coming in right now.
I feel sorry for Joe. I feel sorry for Keza. You know what I mean? Because those are the drivers who have got the pits, got the penalties. Bruce, you've got to be at your very best. You had a bit of a gap. You've got to do it again. Mert will be absolutely at the back of you if you don't watch out. Reen says Joe has had a massive recovery drive. He has, to be fair, he has. But remember, he's got a penalty, so he will drop down like a domino effect in the next, well, depending on wherever they finish. But here we go. Here we go, Tim. They're coming to the final few corners now. Bruce needs to get a good start. Bruce needs to get a good start. He does not want to spin now. He does not want to spin. He's got to wait to the straight line. And I think he's off now, Tim. He is off now.
And he really caught Merck at the perfect time, at least for Bruce's sake, because Merck actually did have just a little bit of wheel spin, and that really killed his momentum. As, whoa, was that a car going off into the grass? Yes, it is MDJ, one of our championship competitors, going off into the grass. P6 for him now.
I think there was contact. I think there was contact between MDJ and Joe. I do apologize.
Oh, and now Bruce Lee Harding is off. Bruce Lee Harding is off, and Merck gets around. Nitro Gash gets around. Rudo gets around.
Oh my God, what's going on here? Ginger Tiger's off now. This feels like bumping cars moments, Tim. This has got to stop. I know people want to make the move done as soon as possible, but this is ridiculous, especially 2 laps. And MDJ's out. MDJ is out of the race, Tim.
And Malk, I have a theory that the safety car allowed these tires to cool down just a little bit, and, well, what we're watching now is cold tires on a wet racetrack. Oh, and they're dry tires, by the way. So that's what we're seeing, is these drivers, they just cannot find any grip. There's not enough heat in the tires. And now Rudo trying to go around Nitro Gash on the penultimate lap. Side by side, no contact, though. Rudo concedes the position, at least for now. And wow, a little bit of wheel spin, actually, for the Alpine off the corner. But just behind them, almost side by side between Ryan and Cassidy. But much the same story, as Cassidy just cannot quite get there to Ryan this time. But he's going to have one more opportunity into turn 1 this time. Actually, he'll have plenty of opportunities on this lap, because it's the final lap of the sprint race. Merck leads, Nitro Gash second, Rudo P3. But we are watching the battle between Cassidy and Ryan. That is for 4th and 5th place, respectively.
Absolutely, and this is where everything could be explosive on the final lap of this race now. 3 cars battling now, Nitro Gash and Rudo. Oh, Rudo's trying to make the move on the inside line, but could not do anything about it. Keza's pushed up to 9th. Mikey drops down to 11th. Cameron moves up to 10th. No, IRL, I think IRL's had a bit of a mistake, Tim.
And that's a shame for ARL. He really just cannot get the car underneath him today in this sprint race. Wow, and that was almost a mistake from Rudo. actually, as he almost went to the wall there, had a bit of a moment on that curve, but hanging on to P3, might be able to get around, or actually might be able to hold off Cassidy, rather, who is trying to make a hard-charging move on the outside around him. On the inside now goes Cassidy and the McLaren, but will he be able to get the position? No, he doesn't. Rudo hangs on, but it's side-by-side between Cassidy and Ryan, almost gets into the back of Cassidy, but he lets off, but that actually allows Bruce Lee Harding to get by Ryan now, so Bruce has rebounded back to 5th place. Ryan going back on the outside, trying to get that position back. Bruce gives it to him, and Ryan might just have it, as Bruce has got those old soft tires, but look at Sir Spud on the intermediates in P6. He's actually making moves. He goes around Bruce Lee Harding, and now could he maybe get around Ryan, as we've got Cassidy, who has just spun off the corner. Merckx is going to win the sprint race. Nitro Gash in second, Rudo in P3, but Ryan is going to finish in 4th with Sir Spud finishing in 5th. And wow, that was a very close call between Cassidy and Bruce Lee Harding for 6th and 7th respectively.
I was going to say 102nd exact, Tim. Unbelievable. Fair beeping play to Sir Spud. He gambled on the intermediates in that Red Bull car. He's definitely got some wings on that Red Bull. Definitely got some wings. I was shocked that intermediates was going to go. Well, we thought that we was going to see dry conditions, but we might see it at the end. In the fair play, Spud. Fair beeping play to you. But well done to Merck, actually. I think it's from 10th. I'll just double check. Yeah, from 10th to 1st. Well done to him. Spud, biggest mover, from 50 to 5th, Tim. Good move.
Yeah, and that really was an incredible finish to that sprint race. But I saw Cassidy spin off the final corner, and I thought, well, for sure he's gone. But of course, as you see, he was able to control the car and at least come back to finish in the 6th position. And like you said, Malky, very close finish between him and Bruce Lee Harding. But I am very impressed, actually, with Sir Spud, who was able to make those moves on the intermediate tire. So that really kind of begs the question, would it have made a difference if some drivers had pitted for intermediates earlier in the race? Or was it just Sir Spud being in the right place at the right time? But your official finishing results for the sprint: Merckx in 1st, Nitro Gash in 2nd, Rudo in 3rd, 4th Ryan, Sir Spud 5th, Cassidy in 6th, 7th Bruce Lee Harding, Mikey in 8th, getting that final point. Then Cameron in 9th, 10th is Speed Queen 80, then 11th is Keza ARL in 12th, 13th is Joe Hamster Ka in 14th, 15th is Ginger Tiger Martin in 16th, 17th is 47 Rick, then MDJ in 18th, 19th JP, and Jack in the 20th position.
Wow. Can I just say wow? Again. Wow.
No, we are a wow-free zone. The proper term is guffawed.
Oh, sorry. Guffawed? Wow.
Guffawed, I think that's the word. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
If you say something else, I will blame you for that different terminology, Tim. I will blame you for that, to be fair. Right, guys, while we wait, now we got dry conditions now, and you got the pit crew doing the lovely stance of 3 people merged as one in that dance routine as well. Right, I just catched up with the chat, guys. I do apologise. Kessa says, great to have you both in the comms box again. Yeah, good to see you on the racing as always, each and every single week. Good evening to Reens, how you doing? Says, I'm here to support the driver who wins the race. Yeah, that was Merckx, but Kessers thought it was him. Scotty says, I just joined, saw that room. That was when Cameron lost the car completely. Just reading some more of the comments. Yeah, it was a good drive from some of the drivers itself. ARL says, I don't know what to say. I've been hit 4 times into turn 3 and obviously causing the spin. I don't know how I saved one of them though. That one, ARL, that was the best need for speed, Fast and Furious drift moment in the wet conditions. That is just insane. Fair play to you. But yeah, I think it was Spud. That just slightly contacted by accident. He didn't do that on purpose though. It was tricky though, Tim, when you think about it. When you're in the dry conditions, when you've got the dry tyres in wets, you have to brake a little bit earlier than normal. But obviously, the braking point, you just don't know until it just pops up out of nowhere, to be fair. So you just never know what's going to happen. Guys, if you like the stream, please make sure you hit that like button. It will be a massive help to myself, Malk, and Tim on the commentators box, as well as the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel as well. Hit that like button, guys. Please hit that like button. It will be a massive help. It will be an absolute massive help for all of us. Tim, I'm going to beat you. Tim, top 3 tonight. Who do you reckon?
Well, I think I'm going to go with Mercked, Bruce Lee Harding, and you know what? Sir Spud. I was very impressed with that late race drive in the sprint race. I think Sir Spud could find his way on the podium.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to say Mercked, Nitrogash, and Ruddo. Top 3, any order, top 3. Yeah, if Spud says got lucky and wet, well, hopefully he'll be lucky in the dries. But here we go. I'll let you do the honours, Tim, because we're about to start for the proper race. The feature race.
Well, what was this I said last week is I said maybe, so you can't say I'm wrong if it doesn't happen. But
I'll blame you for that one, Tim. Sorry.
All right, so ready for our feature race now. These drivers, well, I know that they are definitely ready. It was a wild sprint race. Let's see if it's going to be a wild feature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights. We are green for the Invictus Racing League Realistic Performance League Australian Grand Prix. Mert gets off to a nice lead, but Nitro Gash on the inside line has the preferred line, and he might be able to get by Mert, but Mert is able to, well, muscle his way by and hold on to first spot. But look at Ryan practically pushing Nitro Gash into the corner, trying to find a way around, trying to follow Rudo around, who is side by side. 3 wide now, briefly off that corner.
3 wide. We nearly had a 4 in a bed moment there, Tim, at near the back of the grid. This has been insane. So there's like IRL's had a bit of a moment again at the back. Lost himself down all the way down to 20th. But we got a 2-car battle between Cassidy and
Ryan, he's spun. He's in the wall and he is out. That might be our first safety car or even VSC. Let's wait and see. Well, it's a VSC at the very least, and that is such a shame for Ryan.
Did you see what happened though, Tim? Did you see what happened, or did you miss out?
I saw an AlphaTauri go into the wall. That's about all I can tell you.
Yeah, same. I thought he might have got the great angle on it, but I don't know whether it was just a mistake from Ryan's point of view, or he got contacted, I don't know. But unfortunately for Ryan, he is out of the Australian Grand Prix for round 13 at the Invictus Racing League, the Realist Performance League, on the cross-play edition as well. So let's do this. We'll wait and see when the virtual safety car will go in the next few moments or so. But everyone's going for the mediums and the hards though, Tim, as we started. Pardon me.
Yeah, and we are now back under green flag conditions. And you know, Malcolm, I'm looking at these tire choices. One thing that stands out to me is that the majority has elected to go on the medium tires, but Mert on the hard compound tires is actually pulling away from Rudo and Nitro Gash at the moment. Now, it's only lap 2. We've just been under a virtual safety car, but he has still been able to put a decent gap. He's got some speed on those hard compounds. So are we going to see the reverse strategy from him, going from hards to mediums? Because he could be wicked quick on that second stint if so.
I'll tell you what, who's quick at the minute? Cameron's going for the inside line. Oh, so Spud, what a move, actually. He had the great exit just before the long left-hander. And I tell you what, the Red Bull is going for it. He's really trying to go for the inside line, but he could not do anything about it just yet. And there comes the chicane of death now. They're holding on for dear life. Ginger Tiger's getting close to Cassidy now. Ginger Tiger, the champion of last season, but oh my God, there's a barrel behind. So that was a Ferrari. I think that was a Ferrari and Rick. I thought it was JP and Rick. Ginger Tiger drops down. Cassidy, oh! Woo! He went round the outside, but he went off curb a little bit, though, Tim. That's what I said. Ooh! Mad stuff.
And you saw that, and I saw Rick almost get turned by JP, or at least that's what it looked like from the perspective I was seeing. Went back to look at the Haas car. He actually looks just fine. JP, though, he's under a bit of attack right now from Mikey and that Red Bull, so JP probably using his rearview mirrors a lot here, trying to find a way to, defend against Mikey. But, hey, good luck for him, because MDJ has actually put Mikey under a bit of pressure here, too. So MDJ, of course, one of our championship competitors who, at the moment, is finding himself in the 14th position, did not have a good sprint race, trying to work his way up through the field on the hard compound tires. So going for that longer first stint is our champion hopeful at the end of the season. 1 of 4, I believe, Malk.
1 of 4. We'll get to that in a minute, but there's a battle between Spud and Keza. And he said Cassidy. That's a merge of Keza and Cassidy together. Nearly said that. But here we go. Keza can make the move on the inside line. We've got, 3 in the bend! 3 in the bend moment now! Oh, that was brilliant stuff there from Keza. Oh, a little bit of contact. There'll be a contact with Tim McLaren's having to buy one, get one free off of the Red Bull. But the Red Bull's going to go on the inside line now. And, this is brilliant racing here, Tim.
Contact out of the penultimate corner, but Sir Spud holds on to the 8th position for now. Cassidy looking on the inside of that Red Bull. He's trying to side draft him down the straightaway. Can't do anything with it, but into turn 1, will he have him? No, he will not have the advantage, but Sir Spud gives it to him anyway. He goes wide through turn 2, and that opened the door for Cassidy and might open the door for Rick as well. Yes, it does, so the Haas gets by Sir Spud.
I don't know if Sir Spud is struggling. I don't know if Sir Spud is struggling at the minute. Oh, who's that? That's MTJ. I think MTJ has lost it at turn 3, and now around moves up to 15th now. But there, who's that? Yeah, that is MTJ actually. MTJ has lost it at turn 1, I believe. So I don't know what happened to him. That'll have to be checked if he did have contact. But Ginger Tiger's going to cause havoc at Sir Spud now. And I tell you what, Ginger Tiger, the champion of last season, he will not be champion this season though. He'll be absolutely frustrated this season, to be fair to him.
And it has been a very frustrating season for Ginger Tiger as you see him make a fantastic move over Sir Spud, and JP trying to follow him through as well. But look at Sir Spud fighting back hard on the inside, won't let Ginger Tiger out of his sights, but ultimately has no choice now as they fall back in line. But it has been a frustrating season for the defending champion. And, we mentioned at the beginning of this season that Ginger Tiger has actually, I believe it was going to no assists in driving this season. So
Correct.
That has been what has affected his speed. That being said, the first time we said that, he was running about 18th. Now he's in 10th. So slowly but surely, he's getting a little bit better as we've got that side-by-side battle no longer between Sir Spud and JP as the Ferrari spins around.
I don't know, I didn't see that, Tim. I did not see that because I was watching the battle between Bruce and Speed Queen because Cameron's getting close as well. Cassidy's getting close to Keza for 7th and 8th respectively. So that's the only two nearest close battles that we'll see. SFR Martin, 121.817, fastest lap of the race, Tim.
So Speed Queen 80 and P5 now chasing Bruce Lee Harding. But yeah, Malk, what happened there as Speed Queen goes around Bruce Lee Harding quite easily.
Oh, what a move. That's a brilliant move there from Speed Queen. But Bruce may bounce back. Bruce may bounce back on the inside line. Oh, 2. The yellow flag's at the 3. I'm not sure where that's come from. That's the chicane of death. Looks like Rick's dropped down. Looks like Rick has dropped himself down at 10th. But Speed Queen drops down to 5th. Cameron is on Speed Queen's case at the minute. Coming to the final few corners now. This has been absolutely brilliant racing though, Tim. Sorry to interrupt you there.
It's fantastic though, Malk. As Cameron trying to get a run on Speed Queen off the corner but can't do anything with it. Speed Queen really found some speed as she charges toward Bruce Lee Harding. Cannot get the move done that time though. I think she was hoping to find an opportunity in turn 1, but it just didn't present itself. Another DRS zone here, but it's a bit shorter one, so the opportunities aren't, they few and far between through that corner. All the same though, Speed Queen 80 using every bit of DRS and every bit of slipstream that she can to keep momentum and keep close to Bruce Lee Harding. At the moment, I think we're going to see Bruce Lee Harding still have the advantage as far as speed. He's on the medium tires, the slightly faster compound, and he's in the faster car, that being the Mercedes over the Haas. Now, over the course of the next few laps, I believe that those medium tires, we're going to see them wear a little bit more, and Speed Queen have an advantage as we see her go back around Bruce Lee Harding. Now, we saw that just a lap ago. Will Bruce be able to fight back again and get around her, or has she finally completed the pass? Because Cameron is putting a lot of pressure on Bruce, and, well, Cameron just answered that as he goes around Bruce.
Yeah, ooh, bit of a wiggle from Cameron there. Nearly could have been catastrophic moments from Cameron's point of view, but Bruce, this is what happened. When Speed Queen makes the move, Cameron has to capitalise on that mistake from the next driver, because otherwise Cameron will not catch up to Speed Queen. But remember, Ruddo, Cameron, and MDJ, 3 of the 4 drivers, as well as Bruce, they're in the top 4 of the driver standings. I will get through the driver standings quickly. These are the points before tonight's race. This is not just after the sprint. This is just before everything tonight. But I'll let you carry on with that, Tim, while I get the standings.
So Bruce Lee Harding, one of the 4 champion hopefuls at the end of the season. And it has really been a very close points battle this season. And, you know, that's coming off of last season, which was actually decided on a tiebreaker. They had to go back on a count back of wins, which was awarded to Ginger Tiger, who you see running in 10th currently today. So, you know, Invictus Racing League, they are known, it seems, for the very close points battles that we can sometimes get in these Realistic Performance League races. And, well, it's been a pleasure to commentate on so many of them, Malkin. This is going to be another one for the history books.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what's beautiful is the 2 McLarens. The 2 McLarens going side by side. And we've got a driver that's gone off, and that's MDJ. Yeah, MDJ has, I think he's lost it after turn, I think it's turn 5, I think. Just before the end of the first sector. So that is not good news for MDJ. Nigel Gash, casualty of the second time bounty for multiple warnings. So pressure moments though for Nitro team.
Yeah, pressure moments indeed as he's trying to hold on to that 3rd spot. As let's go ahead and take a look at Rudo really quick though. In that Alpine, he's running in the 2nd spot, and we also got to show a little bit of love to Merck there, who has led this entire race 2.5 seconds ahead of Rudo in the Alpine, but back to Nitro Gash there in the 3rd spot, who is, well, about 4.7 seconds ahead of Speed Queen 80, but she is under an enormous amount of pressure with Cameron Searle right there behind her, on board with that Aston Martin now, and we'll see what kind of a run he can get on Speed Queen. We've seen her make the move on Bruce Lee Harding twice around this section of racetrack, but Cameron Searle not so lucky this time.
He's got more speed outside the corners, Tim, than any of the other drivers. And look, he's trying to make the move on the inside line. He fancied it, but didn't want to risk it for a biscuit at all.
Now, he's pretty close to Speed Queen, so if he can maintain this distance or get even just a little bit closer, then he could have an opportunity going into turn 1. And, you know, she's not going to have any DRS while he's going to have every bit of it. So the cards are definitely in his favor, but she is going to be anticipating that. And you actually see that red light blinking, I think, on the back of the Haas car. So that would indicate that she's using a little bit of ERS to try to defend against Cameron Searle.
I think she's just trying to save it, though, Tim. I think she's trying to save it. Oh, come on to turn 3 now. Cameron holding on for dear life. Speed Queen keeping on the inside line now. Oh, fair. Beeping play for Speed Queen to hold on. Yellow flag set to 1. That is, I'm not sure who that is actually. I don't know whoever that is. But there is an absolute train at the back. By the looks of things, I think it's from Joe Hamster. I think there's a bit of a train going just behind him.
So we'll take a look at Joe Hamster here. Ginger Tiger, though, in the Alfa Romeo. Joe Hamster 5.8 seconds behind, and you are right. Joe Hamster is leading a train of cars. That's ARL, Sir Spud, JP, and I also think Mikey is sort of dragging up the end of that line. So not sure what's going on there with Joe Hamster. Just seems like maybe he's, you know, just does not have the speed around here.
SFR Martin has crashed, and we've got our first safety car?
Yes, a safety car.
The safety car of the evening. Hello to Nick. Nick, if that's how you pronounce it, sorry. How you doing, mate? He says, how is decided who drives in which car since it is realistic performance? One of the admins decides which car depending on the pace of the driver. So, for example, Nitrogash, who is a tier 3 driver, will be in the Mercedes or maybe in the Red Bull. Same as the Spud. But then you got like Speed Queen, Cameron, who are the faster drivers in tier 1. They probably will. Well, I say probably. They'll be in that category between like the Aston Martin, the Williams, and the Haas, because they were like the 3 worst cars from this game. So it's based on driver's ability. The faster drivers will be in the slower cars, and the slower drivers, as such, will be in the faster cars to make it equal, to make it as equal as best as we can. But normally an admin will decide. But technically, like Nitrocash and Bruce, they're not teammates in this league. They are different teammates, but they're in the same car, so because they've got the same pace, more or less the same pace. Is that correct, Tim?
That's correct, and actually, because of the different allocations and how that can really change and mess with drivers, we actually do allow the drivers to create their quote-unquote own teams, so they still have a quote-unquote teammate, just normally not in the same car. So, just for example, quick finishers, they are currently leading the constructor standings with 469 points. That is Rudo and Bruce Lee Harding. So Rudo is in 2nd place in the Alpine. Bruce Lee Harding, he's in 8th place in the Mercedes. So they are considered teammates in the constructor standings, but as you can see, they're not allocated to the same car because Rudo and Bruce Lee Harding's pace are just a little bit different from each other's.
Absolutely, and that's what it all matters, to be fair. That's what everything all matters at this stage. And you just never know what's going to happen. A few of the drivers are going to the pits again. Mert and Rudo, I don't know what happened to them two, but I don't know if they had contact, but I think they're going on for fresh tyres and just hope for the best. But it does compromise their positions, though, Tim. It does compromise their permission. I didn't say permissions of their positions. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm all over the place.
Do they have permission to advance their position now?
Not anymore, mate. I'll retire after that, to be fair. But yeah, normally I was going to say the tyre structures, which we not mentioned about earlier in the stream itself. I was expecting lap 12 to 16 was the barriers for the pit stops, like between the mediums and the hards. But because everyone else, except the Keza, who's gambled to keep on going, it's going to be a bit tough. But Nitrocash got 2nd place, though. Nitrocash got 2nd place. But because of Rudo and who else? Merckx. So 2 drivers who have gone in. I wonder if they had some wing damage or issues, because they've gone back in for probably another set of tyres again.
Yeah, and I know it's Merck,
no, sorry, I got that completely wrong. Merckx and Rudo, that was their first pit stop. I do apologise. My fault with that. Because I was thinking, I thought Merckx and Rudo was just running again by accident, but it is my fault, Tim. Sorry. So that was their first pit stop.
Yeah. I was a little bit confused there, but I was going to say though, that Merck. He just pitted from the lead because he had started on the hards and it was, time for him to switch over. Now, granted, that was probably a little bit earlier than he would have wanted to switch over. He only ran about 10 laps on the hard compound tires, and now he's going to have to put 19 laps on the mediums. Granted, at least a few of them will be under safety cars, so not putting it as much wear and tear on the tires as you normally would, but, you normally want the hard tires to be the longer stint, so, even though the position was compromised, Malk, it looks like maybe his strategy was compromised a little bit too.
Possibly, unless he's gambling to go on a bit longer than normal. But remember, look at Speed Queen. She's very good with the tyre management. So I will not be surprised if she goes all the way to the end with those medium tyres. But remember, the medium tyres, roughly, if it was fresh, I'm just saying it, if it was fresh, normally it would probably be about half the distance of the race, or just over half the distance. So in this case, it would be about 15, 16 laps, I would say, if you're lucky. That's up to that barrier. Probably about the 10th lap or the 11th lap. That's where you're going to be absolutely cautious at that stage, Tim.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to really have to keep an eye on. Now, one thing that does bode in favor of these drivers on the medium tires is that we do have a little bit less fuel in the cars now than when we started, and obviously that's going to continue to drop. So less fuel in the car means less weight, means a little less tire wear. So I know that these drivers are going to be scratching and clawing, trying to find anything that they can get. Well, let's just hope that those medium tires will last and be competitive at the end. But riding on board with Nitro Gas right now, as Keza is our control car, he gets to decide when we restart this race, as long as it's before the start-finish line. And they also have a couple of time penalties up there, so 3 seconds for the pair of them, and that's going to come back and bite him at the end. So hopefully for their sake they can, well, pull off about 3-second gap on everyone else. But we are about to go green. When they cross the line, it will be lap 13 of 29, so just before that halfway mark of this race, and it's been crazy so far. And after our first safety car of the feature race, we are green. Let's see if it stays crazy, as Keza puts an enormous amount of distance between him and Nitro Gas.
Yeah, that's a good move. That's a great start there for Keza. But look at Cameron. Cameron ain't messed about with those fresh mediums. He's got to be careful though. Coming to turn 1 now into turn 2. Try and keep that pressure on now. Speaker just a little bit behind now, but Nitro Gas coming to turn 3. Oh, trying to... You can look at Cameron's car. He's got great exit on all these corners. He's got a little bit more speed than some of the drivers who are struggling on those corners. Merck's moved up to 7. Mikey moves up to 14th now, Tim.
Yeah, so a lot of moves in position back there in the field now. So let's go back and take a look at Merck, or actually taking a look at Rudo first, though, in the Alpine, because he has got a gaggle of cars just ahead of him that he's about to catch. That is ARL Ginger Tiger Bruce Lee Harding ahead of him. Oh, and side by side between Rick and, it looked like Bruce Lee Harding, or was that Rick and Merck just ahead of him?
I did not see that, Tim, but Cameron made the move onto Nitro Gas, and Cameron has made 1 move into 2. But will Speakwing make the move onto Nitro Gas? She has. She's moved up to 3rd now, Tim. She has moved up to 3rd.
Speakwing P3, Keza P2, and as you said, now Cameron in P1 and starting to sail away. Now that is not good for drivers like Speed Queen and Merck, who pitted just this last time under the safety car and are trying to catch the leader. Cameron, when he gets out into clean air, he quite literally sails away. It is amazing to watch, and I think that we're going to see that. Also, taking into consideration that Speed Queen 80 still has to fight past Keza, who has got 13-lap old hard tires. That's going to make it difficult for him.
Absolutely. She'll need to make that move done as soon as possible, because otherwise Cameron's just going to fly off. And that is crucial for Cameron, because he is in 3rd place. But right, situation. Watch out for Cameron, Rudo, MDJ and Bruce. Those are the top 4 to watch out for. But also Nitro Gas is slight chance, I'll say top 5 a chance to make them into winning the Drivers' Championship as we speak. It looks like 47 Rick has made the move onto Cassidy into 6th place, and that is a good move actually. Speed Queen 2/10 now, passing the chicane of death. This is a great chance now for her to make the move onto Keza. She'll have to go around the outside. Oof, Jesus. Yellow flag set to 3. Yellow flag set to 3. Who is that? That is Cassidy. Cassidy has made a massive mistake, probably after the chicane of death, Tim.
So one McLaren spinning and another McLaren fighting for P2, that being Keza fighting for P2. This is still allowing Cameron Searle to just, absolutely, gap the rest of the field. 2.9 seconds now between Cameron and Keza, and, Keza's just got a train of cars behind him. Speed Queen, Nitro Gas, and Merck. All 3 of these cars just cannot find a way around Keza, but it's got to be frustrating for the drivers because they're definitely faster than Keza at this point. They're on fresher tires. They just cannot find a way around him.
Well, they've got to do something, Tim, because it's already now coming up to 4 seconds now for Cameron to make the move, to pull the gap. He's just not messing about after the last few races, Tim. He has been below par, shall we say, and nothing against him at all. He is a very good driver, but the last 2 races he has done, he has been below par. Speed Queen has finally got herself into 2nd place now. Mertz moves up to 4th, Nitro Gas drops down to 5th now. So this is where the pressure is going to be mounted now. Can Speed Queen now chase Cameron to win the Australian Grand Prix, Tim?
Well, she has got just over 10 laps to do it. In fact, it looks like 15 laps, give or take. So Speed Queen 83.6 seconds behind Cameron Searle. Let's see how that gap falls or grows as the race goes on. Behind him, though, Keza still holding up Merck, who is trying desperately to find a way around that McLaren. And, you know, the top 4 or 5 drivers here, they have pretty much pulled away from the rest of the field because Rick back there in 6th place is sort of in a land of his own. Rudo slowly creeping up behind him like Jaws in a movie. But, you know, beyond that, Rick is just sort of alone. Slowly coming up on Nitro Gash, though. Found some DRS, found some slipstream, finding some speed. Nitro Gash slowing up a bit, but now Merck and Keza side by side. And Merck gets around Keza, so now Merck back into P3, finds himself in the podium positions, but considering that he had such a big lead earlier, he probably wants to get back there, and he's now within DRS range of Speed Queen 80, so could we see these 2 cars work together to try to chase down that Aston Martin?
That's a big question, though. It just depends on how much they want to work together to try and catch up to Callum, because once you've got those 2 cars together, it feels like Merck is pulling Speed Queen back. That's what it is. That's what, you know, the cars are pulled back. Rick is trying his best to make the move onto Nitro Gash. Can't do anything about it. Keza needs to pit at some point for the fresh mediums and needs to do it quickly. And he needs to do something about it because he's going to be dropping down like a domino effect if he doesn't watch out. I was going to say, I was worried if he kept going again, but he is in the pits now, Tim.
Yeah, I actually thought that he overshot the pit entry too, and I was about to say, is he trying to hold out for soft tires? But no, Keza does go into the pit, so expected to go on the fresh medium tires outside of the top 10. Looks like he's going to rejoin about 15th position or so. So, you know, Keza trying to hold off as long as he could on those hard tires, but ultimately just could not, you know, make it last all that long. So Merck in 3rd place quite comfortably now. Speed Queen 80 in 2nd quite comfortably now. Cameron Searle even more comfortably in the lead. And Nitro Gash about 2 seconds behind these 2 drivers on your screen.
Absolutely. Fantastic stuff now for Rudo to try and close the gap. Cassidy's got the pass of the race, 120. I couldn't catch that, the rest of it, but Mikey got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings now. So penalties galore. It is hitting off at the Australian Grand Prix. If you like what we see so far, guys, please make sure you like and subscribe to the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel for all the live race itself. We're aiming for at least 10 likes tonight, guys. We're aiming for at least 10 likes tonight. Will be a massive help. I'll say again, massive help to myself, Malk, and to Tim in the commentators box, as well as the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button on this stream, guys. Hit that like button. Thank you so much. They're coming to the final corner now. Nigel Guest, Rick and Rudo. And can Rudo now put the pressure on Rick? This is where anything could happen now. Anything could happen at this stage. And you can't, like I said, we're near the end of the season though, Tim. We're near the end of the season. You can't afford to make silly mistakes now.
No, you really can't. And as we actually turn to our driver standings, Rudo in that Alpine going into the race today was and should still be the leader at the moment, 253 points over MDJ's 239. 3rd place is Cameron Searle, the leader right now with 225 points, and then Bruce Lee Harding in 4th with 216. So, you know, what do you do if you're Rudo? Because you're leading right now, you've got a bit of a points buffer to Cameron Searle, who or you're leading the points if you're Rudo, but you're not leading the race. You have a points buffer to Cameron, who is leading the race, and you know good and well is a threat to win this championship. As Rudo, well, that's what you do, is you find a way around Nitro Gash if you can, and try to pass Rick as well. Could not get either car, but almost got both of them.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Rudo needs to try and get as close to Cameron as much as he could. Because remember, we had about 4 or 5 drivers who could be in for a chance to win the Drivers' Championship. Yellow flags at the 3. I think that might be Kerr. That's gone a little bit wide as we speak. But Nitro Gas is getting close to Ruddo now. Ruddo, he's gone past Nitro, so that's one stage done. One step ahead. And he needs to do it on Rick now. Because, like I said, 25, 22, 20... whatever happens, he has already lost 9 points from Cameron at this stage in this feature. I can't remember with the sprints, but we'll get back again. But he did get third though. So that will be 6. So theoretically, he has lost 3 points of Cameron though, if it stays like this and depending on the fastest lap.
So let's go back and talk tires for a minute, because you said that the medium tires. Oh, wait a minute, Merckx actually just got by Speed Queen. Oh wow, she spun.
I don't know whether she got caught by the curb on the chicane of death, but I don't know if she got caught by anyone. But unfortunately for her, she is dropped down into 6th place now, Tim.
Well, that is a shame for Speed Queen, who seemed to at least be on for a podium today, as it's now lap 20 of 29. That's not looking too likely that she's going to be able to rebound her way back into the top 3 positions. All the same, though, it's been a great effort, and her race is not over, so we'll see what she can pick up before the end of the race. But what I was saying, going back to talk tires, Malk, you said that about lap 10 is when those medium tires might start to scream. They should be able to last to the end, no problem, and we know the hard tires will last to the end, no problem. But Cameron Searle and Merckx, they are on the medium tires, and it's now 10 laps on Cameron's tires, 9 laps on Merckx. But behind them, you've got Rick, Rudo, and Nitrogash, all those drivers, 10, 9, 10 laps respectively on their hard tires. So, is it theoretically possible that we could see, Rick and Rudo actually catch up to Merckx and maybe even a long shot still, Cameron, if their tires start to give up the ghost?
It is a... I know I said 10 laps because I thought that might be the catalyst to start slowing down a little bit, but I'm watching Rick's time now to compare himself to Merckx, and I can't see it improve though. I really cannot see that improve. I know he's already on 10 laps on the hards, but those hards can last longer. Yellow flags. Oh, Mikey's out. Mikey is out of the race. We might have a safety car, Tim.
And we do.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy indeed, and Speed Queen has got herself into the pits, Tim.
And that is crucial for Speed Queen, for Ginger Tiger, for all of those drivers, because they're able to catch the pit lane before they catch the safety car cue.
Sorry, Tim. I'm so sorry to interrupt you there. The safety car nearly crashed Nitrogash.
What?
I'm so sorry. Yeah, the safety car was turning left. Nitrogash was going to go to the left anyway, but the safety car was turning left. Where Nitrogash was trying to avoid, luckily went through quickly, but that could have been catastrophic moments for Nitrogash, Tim.
I guess it's too simple to ghost the safety cars.
It wasn't ghosted, Tim. The safety car was... Remember, this is real life scenario. Sorry, this is the game scenario. It will not be... The safety car will not be turned into ghost at all. That could have been... I think Nitrogash would have been absolutely livid. I don't know whether he would get any, stuff from the stewards itself, but the safety car would have been a catastrophic moment for him, Tim.
Yeah, I really would have, but anyway, going back on tires, since this safety car changes everything, we no longer have to worry about whether the medium tires are going to last to the end, because Cameron, Merckx, all these drivers, we're going to see them pit. But now what we need to worry about is who is going to be leading once we go back green, and how many laps are we going to have, because it looks like it's going to be pretty much a soft tire shootout, as it's a no-brainer. Everyone at this point needs to pit for those soft tires if they got them.
Yeah, so just... Yeah, I think that if this is now soft tyre conditions now, Tim, we might have a proper 7 or 8 lap shootout on the softs, except for Kerr, who's gambled on the mediums, trying to play it safe. I don't blame him for that. Kessler says, put me back on my very work hard. thought absolutely no point, but wish I didn't retire now. God's sake, I'm such an idiot. So that's why Keza has retired as well. Oh, Nitro nearly went off track a little bit. He just completely lost it at turn 3. And that could have been even more catastrophic miles. But this is where the penalties are going to be absolutely crucial now. They're not nearly in the race, but they've got to factor the penalties from all. I mean, Cameron, Merckx, Rudo. I mean, Rick, 47 Rick will have the chance to get a good opportunity. But remember, I can't remember what penalties he's got now. Sorry, 6 seconds. 6 seconds worth of penalties. Nitro Crash 3, IRL 3, Jimmy Tiger 5, Joe Amster 11. That's bad. Bruce in for 3 seconds, Spud 3 seconds, and Cassidy for 3 seconds. They're glad that it's not at the end of the race, because we wouldn't have known which positions which at this stage, Tim.
Rip Steward's findings this week. That's all I'm going to say, because, of course, they're going to have to go back and review the finish, make sure that the, time penalties were awarded correctly. And, of course, any time penalty that these drivers get, they are allowed to bring it up to the stewards if they think that it was unjust. So, that's why we always say officially unofficial results at the end of these races. But, yeah, I do not envy the steward's job looking at all the black and white time penalties that we got right now.
Absolutely not. It's a very tough job. I'm fair play to all the stewards in all leagues, shall we say. They've done they're trying everything they can to make it as equal as well as. Sorry, I interrupted you there too. I think Nitro just lost a bit of communication with his car. It looked like he was way off, nearly hit the wall, and then he bounced back into the screen. So I don't know what's happened from his point of view, but hopefully there'll be. Hopefully it'll be okay, to be fair. So, I'm trying to think. 7 laps to go, Tim. Soft tyres, and we will have the safety car in this lap, because Cassidy will catch up before the end of the second. So, can Cameron hold on? I believe so. Can Merck give Cameron a run for his money? Absolutely. Rudo needs to get ahead of Rick. Regardless whatever happens, because it's points mean prices, Tim. Points mean prices at this stage. And Bruce and MDJ, they will be kicking themselves, because they should be higher up with the situation that they're in. They should be higher up, and they'll be absolutely livid that they're not challenging with Cameron and Rudo. And safety car will be in this lap, so Tim, I'll let you do the honours to build up this momentum for the last few laps.
And Cameron Searle will be the control car to decide when we go back racing, as long as before the start-finish line, on board with Merckx here, who is ready to go as soon as that Aston Martin does. But Cameron, well, he knows that Merckx is back there, ready and waiting to go. So he is going to try to catch him off guard. You saw the kind of jump that Keza was able to get the last restart that we had. Unfortunately for him, he was not able to keep that advantage. All the same, less laps now, and Cameron has went very early this time, but doesn't work out for him. Cameron, a very quick driver, one of our championship competitors. Merckx, he just wants to get up there and win.
Absolutely. Well, Merckx did very well, actually, to be fair, I think it was yesterday's race. But, yeah, it was just mad stuff, to be fair. Cameron is just started off way too early. I hope that doesn't compromise too much later on in the race, but he is pulling away slowly by 5/10, Tim.
Yeah, so half a second between Cameron and Merckx. It's lap 24 of 29, so just 5 laps remaining. We got a nice 5-lap shootout to decide it all, and look at 47 Rick just behind him, trying to catch Merckx and actually putting a little bit of distance between himself and Rudo, but he's going to have to put more than that between him and Rudo if he's going to hang on to that 3rd spot, because he has got 6 seconds worth of time penalties that's breathing down his neck.
Absolutely, and Cassidy's out. Cassidy is out of the race. I think he lost it after turn 5, and now I don't think the safety car will come out, but it is very, very difficult. Bruce has dropped down to 12. JP moves up to 11th now. So, so JP is trying to push on massively. Merckx, look at Merckx now. Merckx is getting really close to Cameron now by 3/10. And we're now 4/10 now, Tim.
And Mert wishes that the DRS was active, but it is not this time. He'll have to wait. But out of the final corner, he will at least have some slipstream. Might find a little bit of an advantage there. 0.4 of a second. Mert running the fastest lap, a 1:20.742. Well, I think that Cameron might have a competitor as soon as that DRS is active.
Might? It's definite, Tim. It's definitely going to happen. Unless Merck does an absolute unthinkable mistake, which I can't see that happening at the minute. He was really well on Tier 1 last night. And fair play to Sab and to JPH for the commentary as well last night. They did really well, to be fair. But Merckx is not messing about, Tim. Merckx is not messing about. But remember, Cameron made two silly mistakes in the last. Well, I say two silly mistakes. Two mistakes in the races last week, like last week and the week before. Those mistakes itself. Sorry if I keep saying mistakes, Cameron, if you're watching it back, but it wasn't the greatest points that he needed to challenge the championship title at this stage. But this is now Cameron territory that he can't mess up now, Tim.
No, he really can't, because he is in that championship fight. And, you know, Rudo, the points leader going into the day's race, if he holds on to the 4th position, if my math is correct, he should hang on to the lead still, but a win would pay dividends for Cameron Searle. And, you know, we've got 3 races remaining. That's counting, of course, the 4 laps we have left in this race. So after today, we only have 2 races remaining. So it is really getting down to the wire with this championship battle. So, you know, any position, any point gained or lost can mean the championship right now.
Well, yeah, this is what I mean. He can't afford to mess up at this stage. Ginger Tiger's made the move on to Travis in 8th by the looks of things. Mert is still getting close to Cameron. He can't make that move just yet. He's pulling away. Rick is also trying his best to make the move, but he can't do anything about it just yet. Speed Queen's got the chance to make the move onto ARL for 6. And Travis has got himself back to 8. Ginger Tiger drops down to 9. I'm just trying to calculate the points, Tim, right, as it stands. So I'll let you carry on while I do the calculation quickly as it stands, Tim.
And on board with Mert giving chase to Cameron Searle. Be lap 27 of 29 when they get to the line this time. Mert, he was dominant in the early half of this race. Led every lap up to about, well, lap 10 or so. When the safety car came out, he had to pit for a fresh set of hard tires. And then another safety car came out just a handful of laps ago, and that brought him back into play, and now he's put himself out of play as he gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So now he doesn't only have to pass Cameron, he has to get 3 seconds ahead of Cameron as well. And considering we only have 3 laps remaining, that's going to be virtually impossible. Technically possible, but very, very hard to do. So Mert better start booking it if he's going to do anything with it. All the same, maybe still he'll be able to hang on to a podium finish. But that is, of course, assuming that he doesn't pick up another time penalty and that he can put a little bit more gaps still between the cars behind him.
He's making the move. He's made the move on to Cameron before the chicane of death. But Cameron has got a great exit. Now making the move on the inside line now. 2 to bed moment now. 2 to bed moment. Coming up 2. Oh, Cameron did not want to risk it for a biscuit. But Cameron, if he can keep hold of Mert, this will be perfect. But Mert will be absolutely livid. I'm just trying to calculate. So at the moment, Mert will drop down to 3rd. Yeah, he'll drop himself down to 3rd as it stands. Because Cameron will win the race. Rudo will get 2nd. And Mert will get 3rd. So Mert will get 3rd. Yellow flags. Ginger Tiger. No, actually, it was Joe Hamster. Joe Hamster's lost it at the last corner, Tim.
Oh, wow. So that is a shame for Joe Hamster now. But, yeah, also it's a shame for Mert because, as you saw just a lap ago, he picks up a time penalty, and that could very easily be what decides this race. You saw that he got by Cameron Searle and that he's been putting a little bit of distance between him and Cameron, so he's doing everything that he needs to do. He's just not doing it quick enough. And it's lap 28 of 29. without a catastrophic mistake from Cameron, I don't see a way that Mert is going to be standing on the top spot of that podium. All the same, though, he has put on a fantastic race, and he is giving it every single bit of effort that he can to try and win this race. He's not giving up until the checkered flag flies. Oh, and Cameron picked up a 3-second time penalty. That is big. So now the top three have time penalties. Rudo, the points leader, going into the race today, he's the only one in the top 5 who does not have a time penalty. Now, Malk, you need to get the calculator out and figure out where these drivers are going to land, because it's going to be the last lap, and I don't know who is going to win what. Rudo is running in the 4th position, and maybe, just maybe, he could win this race from 4th.
So at the moment, calculating quickly, Rudo will win will win the race, but Mert and Cameron cannot afford to mess up now. They cannot afford to mess up with these mistakes. Rudo will win the race. Rudo will win the race, and it looks like it may be Mert and Cameron will be in 2nd and 3rd, Tim, as it stands.
Yeah, that is as it stands, of course, assuming that Mert and Cameron do not get 3 seconds ahead of Rudo, who is currently stuck, actually, behind 47 Rick, as you see there. Let's take a look at the gap now to the leader. There it is. It is 2.4 seconds between Rudo and Mert. They need to put their foot on the gas, and they need to do it now, because their opportunity to win this race is running out.
Cameron, oh, come on! What a move! What an unbelievable move there from Cameron! Brilliant stuff! But they will not be able to win the race unless Rick has made a massive mistake. But they come up to the final few corners now, Tim. I'll let you do the honours.
And it's going to be very close. Cameron, Searle, and Mert off the final corner. Oh, and Mert spins around. But will Cameron be able to win this race, or will it go to Rudo? It is going to go to Rudo in the Alpine over Cameron, only just because of that time penalty. 0.4 of a second. Rudo from 4th place wins the Australian Grand Prix. Cameron in 2nd, Rick in 3rd, and Mert, who had a fast car all day, spins it on the final lap and has to settle for 6th.
Mert will be absolutely livid, Tim. I don't care whatever anyone says. Mert will be absolutely livid on the last corner. He had a guaranteed podium for 3rd. Tim.
That was fantastic, though, Mal. Fantastic. Just an amazing finish. Mert, as you saw, he picked up that time penalty, and, well, we thought that his chance to win the race was gone. Then Cameron picked up a time penalty, and we thought, hey, you know what? Maybe Mert can still win this race. And still, Rudo in 4th place was able to stay just close enough to the leaders to benefit from their time penalties. He kept it clean the whole race, did not pick up a time penalty, and you see him as the winner, and that is going to pay dividends in that championship as well.
Absolutely, and that's what you need the most. Scotty, how you doing, mate? It says, still calling out a successful recovery race from Cameron. To be fair, it is still a good race. Today has been a good race. The last 2 races that he's done from Cameron was not great. That's going to cost him the championship if it stays like that. But he had a great race, and I think that penalty is going to cost him dearly. But we'll have to wait and see how everything plans out. But yeah, one of the greatest races we've had for quite a bit, Tim.
Yeah, and your officially unofficial results for the Australian Grand Prix: Rudo in 1st, Cameron in 2nd, 47 Rick in 3rd, Nitrogash in 4th, Speed Queen 80 in 5th, Mert in 6th, ARL in 7th, JP in 8th, 9th is MDJ, Bruce Lee Harding in 10th, Jack in 11th, 12th is Cud, Ginger Tiger in 13th, 14th is Sir Spud, Joe Hamster in 15th, Cassidy in 16th, Keza in 17th, Mikey in 18th, 19th is Martin, and Ryan in the 20th position. And we have got Cameron Searle with us now. Not sure if Rudo or Rick will be joining us, but we at least can talk to our 2nd place finisher. So please make sure that you have your voice allowed to be shared. If you don't know how to do that, go over to the party settings, click always allow, and let us know when you're ready. Also, I wanted to beat you to it this week, Malk.
Oh, you beat me to it. Fair play to you, mate. Fair play to you. I'm just going to do a quick calculation on the top 5 as it stands. All right, so we're just waiting for a few drivers to join in. But if you want to carry on with the interviews, Tim, I'll let you do the honours. And yeah, I'll let you carry on, Tim.
And Cameron, are you ready?
Hopefully.
All right. Well, Cameron, I know that you're going to be very disappointed, but second place, still a solid result. But walk us through the final 5 laps, fighting with Mercked and picking up that time penalty, and then just hoping that you could do enough to retain the lead.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a ERS sort of battle more than anything. I think he used it early on to try and get track position. I just held on to about 30-40% for that last lap. Yeah, it's a shame we didn't quite get out of that 3. I'll have to have a look back at them all. Maybe one could get removed, sorry, Roddo, but no, Roddo kept it clean the whole race, so GG's to him.
So without that time penalty, quite obviously you would have won, but also that would have been huge in the championship. So 2 races remaining. What's going through your mind as far as the championship goes?
I think certainly after this week, title's gone. I think for both me and MDJ now. It's more over second place in both titles now, be it constructors and drivers.
Wow, so conceding pretty much to Rudo at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it everything, but yeah, no, he's a bit too far ahead. We've had a bit too much bad luck in these races.
Well, all the same, you've got 2 races to find good luck if there is any to be found. But today, second place. Congratulations. And now we'll talk to Rudo, the unlikely winner of today's Australian Grand Prix, winning from, well, it was 4th place until about the final corner. Then it was 3rd place. All the same, congratulations to you. Walk me through your race and how you put yourself in that position.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty comfortable at the start, and I think talking about like good and bad luck, like Merckx and I had just passed the pit lane entrance when the safety car came out, so if we'd got to pit at the same time as everyone else, we would have been 1st and 2nd at the safety car restart. Instead, we were 9th and 11th. So at that point, you know, I was just trying to get through as many as I could, and then when the second safety car came out, obviously everyone boxed onto softs, and I knew it wasn't as quick as the front 3, but yeah, they just picked up penalties. So yeah, I don't really know. Like, obviously, I didn't know how far Cameron was ahead until we crossed the line. So yeah, it's just a bit of a reward for you know, not picking up any penalties.
Well, the cards are definitely in your favor when it comes to winning this Drivers' Championship, but I think that you know as well as I do that if you go out into the race next week and crash out, then that could bring Cameron right back into the picture. So what's going through your mind with 2 races remaining, knowing that you need to keep it clean to be a Drivers' Champion?
We'll just see how it goes. You know, I think it's nice to win the drivers, but I'm focused on winning the constructors with leagues. You know, we've worked through this together this season, so if you gave me the choice, I'd rather have the constructors. You know, we'll see. We'll give it a go. It was nice to. I sort of felt like I was in tier 1 with the front 3 ahead of me, but you know, those guys are super quick, and I know that, you know, I get given a faster car than them, so you know, it's good to mix it.
Well, all the same, it's a win today for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Malk, did you have some calculations that you had for us?
Yeah, I'll try to do it very quickly. This is just provisional, and I do apologise if I got it completely wrong. But so Ruddo still in the lead with 284 now. 284. MDJ 251. Cameron 247. Bruce 229, and Nitro 215. That was the top 5 before tonight, and that is still the top 5 unless there's been any other changes. But I'm more focused on the top 5. And when Cameron said it was just too much, remember the maximum you can get per race with the sprint feature, 2 fastest laps is 35 points. That's 70 points left in the last 2 races. that is a big ask. That is a massive ask. At the moment, between Ruddo and MDJ is like 33. If Ruddo does something out of the bag, and if Cameron and MDJ do something a lot better than what Rudder does next week, we were in for an absolute classic at the Portimao in round 15. But I think Rudder needs to try and seal it off at, I think it's, I can't remember, I've just seen it as well. Just bear me a sec, sorry guys. The Brazilian Grand Prix team.
Yeah, so with just a couple races remaining, it's really getting down to the wire. And, you know, like you heard Cameron say, is he really does think that the cards are in Rudo's favor, but one bad race, and that could, you know, or two bad races, that could really throw it into play. But all the same, it seems to be all the time that we have today. But thank you to all the drivers that race with us. Thank you to everyone who watched, and congratulations to our top 3 finishers. But until next time, have fun, and goodbye.
See you later, guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.